Hey guys, we're Joel and Emma with Cozy Living Machine, and today we're talking about our work from home / work from anywhere setup. We live full-time in our Escape 23 travel trailer, and we work entirely remotely from these computers, and I'll show you my setup because mine's a little bit different than yours.
Yeah.
So until recently, I was a remote system administrator for a large IT firm, and I managed about 400 Macs, give or take. The beauty of it is it can be done from anywhere, right from this laptop. So I'm currently running a 16-inch MacBook Pro. That's an M3 Max chip. So I do a lot of video editing. Now this thing screams, it is amazing. You can get a bigger desktop setup and all that, but it requires more power. And because we live entirely off of solar, we don't want that power constraint. It also requires a lot more size. And of course, this guy also has a battery. So I could take it to, say, Starbucks, for example. If for some reason we don't have power and we're having some issue, I can take this anywhere, and it's just a beautiful thing. So this works pretty well. So obviously, we want to have our awning out, ideally if we're working outside, and sometimes the weather is just right. Often there's bugs or there's wind or what, so it's not always great conditions to work outside, but when we can, throw that awning out, make sure that no birds are gonna ruin our computers. We got a little table here, which is nice, but often I'll just sit back. I can enjoy the view. I'll usually put like a pillow right here, so I'm leaning, you don't want that tech neck. This works very, very well. And for years and years, I would just use a single monitor. We've also had like little clip-on monitors. So it would plug into USB-C, one on each side, and then they would fold away, these little monitors. And so the beauty of that is I could have Teams and Outlook, and I could have a research, I'm doing my research on one monitor, and then I'm also remoted into a client on my center screen. So I can do all of these things without having to like manage Windows, which is really cool. But I found that after a while, it was kind of cumbersome. I had one of the tabs break. At that point, I might as well just manage Windows, shuffle through, and honestly, it was just less hassle. I just open my laptop and off we go. But as of recently, we've also been experimenting with something a little bit different. Let me show you. So here I've got my Mac connected to a USB-C hub that has HDMI power, and then this is probably the most important thing to have, a little backup drive. And so I'll also plug in, we do a lot of video editing. I can plug in the camera either straight into this or into that guy. There's also an SD card. It's a great little piece of equipment. We've got this connected up to a 32-inch, it's an LG 4K monitor. We've actually had this for a very long time, and we recently, I'm like, let me see what we can do about this. And it's pretty good. The pros and cons to this monitor in particular, because it's not super color accurate. And so while I have a ton of room to, I can have a ton of windows, you can do a whole lot at once, and now I have a second monitor. It's huge. I can actually pull it towards me. I'll show you the mount here. But while I'm working in Final Cut, I can actually see my entire timeline here. And this is it's a great thing because you can see down here is where you have all of the, kind of the working files. And then as you edit things together, this is your preview. Then you've got other files that you can pull into the timeline. And then you've got your specific edits for color grading and things like that. And then I might also go ahead and add in a vector scope or something like that, right? And I'm trying to get these things right. The fun part about this monitor, though, is it's not as color accurate as I'd like. But the MacBook Pro display is very color accurate. It's a wonderful thing. So this looks exactly like my phone would look like an iPhone would look. So for social media, I'll bring it down here for the color grading and things like that. But you obviously have significantly less room. But then when I'm done, I'll go ahead and just bring it right back up. And it's a great workflow. Now the other thing is I can kind of sit up here, bring the monitor close to me because I don't have the best vision. It's just so much easier to work. And I thought about adding a keyboard and mouse, but I like to keep things pretty simple. Having a bunch of pillows behind me really does help, and I actually might add a little bit more cushion back here. But this is also really cool because I can go ahead and open these windows, get that cross breeze if we want to. I can go ahead and close that if I want, a little more privacy, or whatever. But we can also watch movies on this, which is kind of neat. So this has been quite a nice upgrade that we've been playing around for about, I don't want to say 2 weeks now, give or take. And yeah, I like it. Now this setup is very adjustable, and I'll show you why. So down here, we've got an extension cable, and I kind of like that it's a little bit darker. It's cloth. Easy peasy there. So that terminates over here, and then we can plug in my Mac charger, and then of course the monitor cable here. And then from the dock, I plug in the power, I plug in HDMI, I plug in my USB, and then it's just one connection to the computer itself. This monitor arm it's a VESA mount. It's about 25 bucks, give or take, and sometimes you can get them even cheaper than that. It just clamps on the table, and the table does have a little bit of wobble. That's just kind of, all RV tables are like that, right? And this guy has a lot of adjustment, so I really like that. But one thing we're finding is that while we're underway, it will cause this whole thing to move, as you might expect. There's a little bit of adjustment still to be made. We're always experimenting, but the cool part about this is I can go ahead and just lift this monitor off, set it on the bed, and then when I'm ready to, I can set it back here. Now, this also leaves plenty of room for Emma to sit here if she so chooses. We can watch movies and such. It's a nice thing. This monitor in particular also does audio over HDMI. I don't like these speakers nearly as much as these Mac speakers, so, you know, pros and cons. We could have a better setup, you know, or we could just throw on headphones, and generally speaking, Emma likes to wear headphones. I have found that if I'm wearing Bluetooth headphones and I'm editing, there's always a delay there, and so sometimes if I'm making chops and such, it just doesn't work. So Emma generally has headphones, and that's kind of like if I take a call, you know, she'll step out, and we're generally not on a call at the same time. Now, you might also be wondering, if we are in the middle of nowhere, how are we getting internet? And I know a lot of folks will use Starlink, and I have nothing against Starlink other than it can be pretty pricey. Their prices are coming down, and then you know, it's one of those things that, like, it's always changing, so it's always something to keep an eye on. But we actually, so we kind of have a tech cabinet up here, and so we've got extra cables, and if I need a little ring light or video equipment and adapters and things like that. So this is how we get our Wi-Fi. This is it's a GL iNet Spitz X3000, and they now also have one with a battery, and it's a Pulley AX3000, I believe it is. So this actually has 4 5G antennas and then 2 Wi-Fi 6 antennas. That gives us really good range. This is Wi-Fi AC. This also gives us really good reception. So we use AT&T. We got on ahead and popped in a SIM card in this. This also has the option to have 2 SIM cards if we so chose. So if we had, say, T-Mobile, or Verizon, and we have our AT&T service, this will go ahead and whichever one's better, it'll switch over, or it can do load balancing now. There was actually an update push to this, which is really nice. So it can actually pull, so we get even faster speeds from both networks. We don't use that function, we just have the one SIM card. This is a really cool piece of gear, and if we wanted to, we could also read, it's only USB 2.0 speeds, but we could read off of this and do our backups for both of our computers to a hard drive from this, which is really nice. We also have a LAN port and then a wide area network port if we wanted to go ahead and just say we take this to a hotel or something like that. We can create our own Wi-Fi. I am the biggest fan of these, and we've been using a version of this one for, I think, going on 3 years at least now. And then we had an older version that was just 4G. So this has full 5G. 4G version lasts, I mean, a long time, and they're still selling those pretty well. So this guy just sits up here. They do get a little warm, but it's not been an issue in our experience. In worst case, you just go ahead and open this cabinet up and just kind of vent it out when you have the AC going. But this guy maybe pulls 10 to 30 watts, absolutely max. We don't even worry about the power consumption. I know with Starlink, sometimes that is kind of a factor. We've got this guy kind of tucked up in here. The reception has been fantastic, and then we just keep it plugged in here. And it's not the most sightly thing, but honestly, it's white on white on white, you know, so it's really not a big deal. And folks will ask, can you do this over 12 volt? Absolutely you can. It is going to step down from 110 to 12 volts. We just have no need. It's much more convenient to do this. I've also found that we get slightly better performance cell signal wise up here than being down near our batteries. So for a while we did have it near our batteries. Now you might wonder, what else does this guy do, right? So obviously we do conference calls, we do video chats, we live stream. We also have 2 security cameras on the outside and then 1 on the inside. We recently installed an air conditioner that has Wi-Fi connectivity, which you wouldn't think that would be really cool. It really is. It's really a nice thing, because then we can see what temperature it is in here for our dogs. We also connect our Victron setup so that from anywhere, or honestly, if I don't want to get up and look at this, I just go to the website from the bed, and we go ahead and just monitor kind of what our power setup looks like, because we're always thinking about solar, and to me it's very fun. And so I want to monitor, you know, how much our roof panels doing, how much are our truck panels doing, right? Like, we want to make sure that we have enough power to run. So, and we can go ahead and control things from there. But this is what I use, and that's our internet setup. What do you use?
So my workflow is a little bit simpler. I generally sit here at this other end of the table when Joel's using his monitor and stuff on that side. Like, we both sit here comfortably and work next to each other. I just use a MacBook Air for most of the things that I do. I don't have any extra fancy things. I do a lot of route planning. I do a lot of stuff on the forums and then comments. I am doing some curriculum design, so I'm using a lot of Canva. But all of my stuff is generally done right here on my computer just right in front of the table.
So I have been fully remote for over 5 years now. I think it was 2020 that I switched. There was a fully remote from in person with one company. But you were actually on site as a principal. And, you know, we living full time, living off grid like this, that was kind of an interesting combo. It's like I work, you know, it's a different mindset, right? But your whole workflow is completely, it's completely different.
It is, yeah.
Coworkers versus like remote, you know, virtual. But now doing social media marketing and then creating videos every single day, multiple times a day, it's a completely different style. So, you know, it is one of those things that it's very nice, right? Because you get up wherever you are, like to make the most of it. And whether you want to get up or I can just work from bed or we can go outside, like this, it's so flexible. You want to take a break, go ahead and take a break. You want to have a snack, you want to use, no problems at all. I love it. I would not trade it for anything. I will say my favorite place though that we've like worked remotely, I think it's the Badlands. There was an overlook at the Badlands. We sat out there. It was super windy, but it was like, you know, when that wind died down, you just had these incredible views. You watch the sunset, and I'm really never not working. I mean, there's always something going through my mind. Oh, we can do this. Oh, we can do this. It's never ending.
The Canyonlands is sticking out to me because it's so fresh, I think. But there also was a spot in Montana, and I couldn't even tell you what it was. But we parked on like a ledge, and then there was like a boat launch and a lake out below us. That was a nice spot because you could sit outside. It was nice. It was flat. It was clear.
Yep.
It was pretty. The weather was great. So you could sit inside, you could sit outside. We had all the windows open. So it was really nice.
Yeah, there's mosquitoes in some areas and less in others. I'd rather go to a mosquito-less place, but you know, pros and cons. But that's the beauty of this life, right? Is if you don't like your neighbors, if you don't like the environment, if you don't like the weather, you just move. You got wheels, use them, right?
But otherwise, like, we just sit where we're comfortable, and the laptops make it easy to move around and do what you do.
Absolutely. Now, I will say this. I am so much more productive at home. I am so much more productive, I will say. I know, like, your job is a little different, right? Working with kids, like, you're probably going to be a little less productive. It makes sense.
I'm less productive at home.
But I do not, like, my work mode and my home... it's just, I've got one personality, right? I don't have a work, you know, it's just the same. So I gotta say, I work more hours and I work harder.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it more. That's the key.
I think when I'm at, like, I'm so used to going to work and like being in work mode and then coming home and being in home mode that I'm still working on like putting those two together. But
it's a little bit of an adjustment.
I'm getting there, and it's
been what,
just
5 months?
Ish, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. You really have to unwind from the corporate or the government world.
Yeah. So I miss it sometimes, but also I really like what we're doing too.
Yeah.
So
I have no coworkers to distract me except for Emma. So, anywho, hopefully this was helpful for you. And if you are wanting to do this, I could not recommend it more. Like, there's just no comparison to basically, even with everybody has a boss, but you feel like your own boss. You know, you're in charge of your time and your productivity, and it's a beautiful thing.
Well, and we get to work from anywhere because our home is anywhere. Mm-hmm. So that's really cool.
Yeah, so make anywhere home. See you guys in the next video.
Bye, guys.
Bye.